Today, we're going to talk about managing up. I'm Danielle Marie, founder of Alley. It's interesting that there are lots and lots of resources on managing in general, like managing a staff, managing someone that works for you. But you don't really find a whole lot about managing up. That we actually do manage our managers as well. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today and techniques that you can use and why it's important. Managing up is important if you care about your work environment, which I think we all pretty much do. We want to go to work and be successful and enjoy where we work. And managing up can really affect your ability to have that experience. So, managing up does not mean that you're manipulating your boss or, anything like that. This is strictly saying, how can I work better with another person? And how can I assist in helping them reach their goals, which in turn also helps me reach my goals? And we're just working in partnership. So, here's a few tips that you can think about that help in terms of managing up. First thing you need to do is really understand your company's strategic plan. If you haven't taken time to go look at your company's strategic plan, I highly encourage you to do that. It is going to give you a lot of good information. You'll have a sense of everything that's going on at the top levels of the company and what they're working to achieve. And then you can align yourself and you'll bet not only will you better understand why you're being asked to do the things you're being asked to do, but you can also be proactive and think about, okay, how can I assist in making these goals happen for the company? And that's all good. So, one of the first things is that, take a look at the strategic plan and understand what the company's goals are. Then think about, okay, well, what are my boss's goals? Because your boss will communicate this frequently. Here's what we need to get done. Everything that you're doing is wrapping up into the responsibility of that boss. So, what is it that you can do to help your boss make their goals and achieve what they're trying to get done? When you have one-on-ones with your boss and you have time with them, ask them, what is it that you're trying to do? What do you see as success in this division or this department? Understanding what your boss's goals are so that you can assist in making that happen. Also, communicate proactively if there's going to be an issue or you have a concern about something or you see a risk that nobody's talking about, I think it's important to work that into the conversations that you're having with your boss. If you're not having one-on-ones with your boss, then that might be worth exploring, and seeing if that's something you can do because you do need to be communicating with them. And that is a great opportunity to say, "Hey, I have a concern about this or that," and see what they have to say. Maybe they have a good reason not to be concerned about it, but at least you have put something on the table if there is a possibility of something that could really hurt the division or the department and or your ability to get the job done. So that's important to communicate ahead early. That includes delays. If you have a project that's going to be delayed, the worst thing you can do is think, "Oh, I'll just get it done. I'll scramble and get it done." Sometimes it's better just to go ahead and communicate. This is looking like it might be delayed, and here's why, and have a plan of action with your supervisor to figure out how to either catch it up or show your supervisor the efforts that you're making to try to catch it up. So they're not blindsided at the last minute of something not being done. That's another way to, make sure that you're fully communicating and managing up. Be strategic when you escalate issues. An issue doesn't always need to be escalated. Sometimes it's something that you can just handle yourself, or it isn't a big deal. It's not something that your supervisor is going to be, really all that concerned about, especially if it's something that you can handle yourself. Or you can go handle with another department, or maybe something you can resolve strictly yourself, or you could involve other people to resolve without having to pull your manager in. So do think about what you're escalating and why you're escalating it, and be thoughtful about what you choose to do. Respect their time. They're likely very busy, as are you. So when you do get their time, be thorough in what you talk about. Don't go in with just no reason. Don't waste your boss's time. And when you have meetings, go in with an agenda, be thoughtful about what you were planning to talk about and utilize it fully because they will appreciate their time being respected and used to the maximum ability possible. Go above and beyond when you can. I still stand by this. I see a lot of stuff in social media that talks about, just go do your 9 to 5, go home, enjoy your life. There's some level of that I think is true. You don't want your job to completely consume your life. But when you are, especially if you're an early career, really going above and beyond and doing everything you can to be successful is important. I think I did a lot of that, and it paid off for me. And I think it's important for other people to do that too, if that's what they want with their life, is to have opportunity. And I just think you need to go above and beyond. When you do something or you have a task given to you, it should be the best that you possibly can make it. It's not just, well, this will suffice. Do something to the fullest extent that you can and make it excellent. So here's a big one: bring solutions, not just problems. If you bring a problem into your supervisor, you should never go in with a problem without some sort of solution. Your solution may not be the best solution. Your solution may not be the one that is chosen. They may feel like, this isn't really quite going to cut it. But when you go in where you show that you have been thoughtful and spent time trying to figure out how to fix the problem, that goes a lot further than if you just go in and say, hey, I've got this problem. I don't know what to do. Well, okay, if you don't know what to do, then, take the time to investigate it and figure it out. Now, is it possible there may be a circumstance where you really truly don't know what to do? Sure. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. If you're someone that usually looks for solutions and works towards that, and then there's just one time that you don't have one, that's totally acceptable. But in general, you wanna spend some time really thinking through it and having some sort of recommendation of how to solve a problem when you bring a problem to the table. Adapt to their communication style. Adapt to their communication style. Think about, how do they like to communicate? Are they really good in person and they like verbally going through things? Are they a written communicator? Are they a written communicator? Do they prefer, putting everything into an email and then reviewing it later? Do they, like things very neat and orderly when they receive them, do they like a lot of thorough explanation with references of where you got the information you have? Or are they more like bullet point? I just want to get to the point and get on with it, and then I'll ask more if I need it. So think a lot about how they communicate. And if you're not sure, ask them, what have I given you that really works? Or how could I change how I'm providing information to you? What do you prefer, and what is your style? So if you talk to a supervisor and figure out what that style needs to be, then that helps you communicate in a more positive way. And they if you're communicating the way that your supervisor appreciates the communication, when they get your communication, they're going to like your communication. So it's not, oh, I like bullet points, but they always send me a novel. That's not good. Where if they like bullet points and you send them bullet points every time, that's nice. They appreciate that. So then that's a good feeling that they get. So think about how they like to communicate and try to do so as much as possible in that format. Asking for feedback is huge. Being open where a boss can actually say, hey, yeah, this is where I think you could maybe improve, or hey, this is what you're doing really well. Could you keep doing that? If you are someone who's open to taking the feedback and you actually take action on the feedback and you're not defensive, you don't push back, you really listen to what they've got to say, those are people that really move, I think, in companies. And a supervisor appreciates that. It's not easy to give feedback. A lot of times, supervisors won't even give it unless you ask for it. And then they're just walking around feeling a certain way about your work habits or your work product. And sometimes you don't even know because they just don't speak up and talk to you about it. So when you create a psychologically safe space yourself and create an environment where you're open to hearing what they have to say, and then they see that, hey, when they do say something, you may change. That is very comforting in a way to a supervisor, and I think that creates a good relationship. Supporting your manager's success, this sort of circles back to one of the first things I said, is you want to know what makes them successful. What are their bosses asking them to do, and how can you contribute to that success? That is a tremendous way to create a very strong relationship with your supervisor. And at the end of the day, this is a two-way street. You know, we go out of our way to do good work and have a strong relationship with a boss or supervisor and meet the company's goals, what they're trying to do, and when you do that, that creates the type of environment where you get supported. And when you're up for promotion or you want to transfer or, you have opportunity that you'd like to go after, if you have managed up really well and created a strong relationship with your manager and you've shown that you have just really great skill sets and you're flexible and you know how to work with people. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what you're showing and demonstrating is you can step into an environment, listen and understand what the goals are and adjust your work style and communication style to working with the people around you and to achieve those goals that the team's trying to achieve. That's a huge win and that makes you very, very valuable to a company. So I hope these are a few tips that help you in regards to managing up. There's certainly a huge responsibility of the manager, which we're going to get into in another episode about just management in general, and that will actually cover a few episodes probably because there's a lot to management. But there's certainly a responsibility on the manager's side too. But us as employees, when we're in an employee seat, there's a responsibility for us as well. And I feel like there's a lot of conversation and training always for the manager, but never really for the employee about how to manage up. So think about that we have the responsibility too, and we really do have an opportunity to create an incredible work environment for ourselves. And part of that is due to managing up.